Earceen Alexander was a laborer for the City of Chicago Department of Streets and Sanitation, and she was assigned to a garbage crew on May the 21st, 2003. On that morning, she went out into the Pilsen neighborhood, hanging from the back of a garbage truck that was driven by a fellow city employee, a truck driver named Denise Alcantar.
She liked her job. She did, because when she was laid off, she was a street sweeper downtown. And when she was laid off, she was so upset. She would say, I have perfect attendance. I went to work every day. I never got written up, and I did what I was supposed to do. Why did I get laid off? And so I would tell my mama, they're going to call you back. They'll call you back. And when they called her back, I never forget, she came banging on my door. I was living across the hall from her. I'm going back to work. I'm going back to work. I'm like, you going back to work, really? I said, oh, you're going to be back downtown? She said, no, I'm going to report to 119th, and I'm going to be riding a truck. I'm like, wow, Mom, that's something different. She said, yeah, I'm going back to work.
Now, Denise Alcantar had only worked for the city for about 6 months, and she had never previously driven a truck. Denise Alcantar was a member of HDO, and HDO was the most powerful cog in Mayor Richard M. Daley's machine.
I was at work and I received a phone call from my sister, and my sister said, Angie, Mom was in an accident at work. And I'm like, what do you mean? What happened? She said Mom was crushed between the garbage truck and a pole. And all my sister knew at that time was that my mom was rushed to Stroger Hospital, and the doctors came in, and they told me that my mom was in critical condition and probably wouldn't make it through the night. She stayed in intensive care, I believe, 2 months. She was moved to IHS of Brentwood, and she stayed there over a year and a half. She went downhill from there. She had no quality of life. I mean, it was just heartbreaking, because I've never pictured my mother to be in that state. You know, she would always say, this accident really taken my life away from me. As time went on, she started telling us a few things about it, and she kept saying she had no experience in driving a truck, and she used to have accidents prior to this. So it makes me wonder, why was this person driving in the first place? Strike number one, if she's had accidents before, why is she still driving? It's nothing wrong with hiring somebody that you know. There's nothing with hiring somebody that's a part of an organization that you work with. But shouldn't that person be qualified to do the job?
Al Sanchez had roles not just with HDO, he was the commissioner of the Streets and Sanitation Department. And years later, after he retired and when he was indicted for his involvement in patronage hiring at City Hall, it was revealed that Al Sanchez and other Streets and San officials had not chosen who would drive trucks based on the merits. They had not chosen the most qualified people. The choices that they made were based purely on political connection.
Yes, I feel he's responsible. Yes, I feel he's responsible. I mean, it still goes back to the question, what was your qualifications of driving a truck? What did you see in her background? Although she participated in a Hispanic Democratic organization, you knew her or whatever. What gives you the right to put somebody in a position that can possibly harm somebody?
Earceen Alexander's case later came up in the indictment and the trial of Al Sanchez for rigging the city hiring process. And now that he's out and running for office, claiming that he's a victim of an unfair prosecution, her family believes that the case illustrates that Clout is not a victimless crime.
What if that was a member of his family? How would he feel? You know, would you want your mother's or your loved one's life to be put in the hands of an inexperienced person?
For the Chicago Sun-Times, I'm Dan Mihalopoulos.